the June 17th, 2021 Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors meeting. This meeting is being conducted electronically pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.2632 and MCL 15.263A1B. When we do a roll call, kindly state the city, county, and state from which you are broadcasting. Could we please have a roll call?
Thank you, Patty. Bogan.
Director Jamari Bogan, Kalamazoo, City of Kalamazoo, great state of Michigan.
Bolton.
Good morning, Nathan Bolton. I am broadcasting from Houston, Texas, Fort Bend County, visiting my grandson, but I live in Kalamazoo Township, state of Kalamazoo.
Brown. Escamilla. Griffin.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo. My apologies, I'm having camera issues.
Gulau.
Here, Kalamazoo County, Kalamazoo City, Michigan.
Hess.
Here, Kalamazoo Township, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Middleton.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, state of Michigan.
Novotny.
Good morning. Here, city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
And Owens.
Present, coming to you live from beautiful downtown Alamo Township, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Should we take a voice vote for absent members?
Oh, sorry. That's it then, okay? I'd like to entertain a motion to excuse absent members, please.
So moved.
Director Hess, support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Excellent. I'm assuming you've all had a chance to review the formal agenda. I do understand. No, I'm sorry. The formal agenda has been in front of you. Are there any changes, Jamie, Paul?
Yes, Jamie. I don't have any changes.
All right, excellent. Seeing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the formal agenda.
Moved by Novotny.
Go ahead.
Middleton, support.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Excellent. Thank you. You've had an opportunity to review the minutes of the meeting of May 20th, 2021. Any corrections, additions, or deletions? I have one. I do believe that present at that meeting was Paul Thuringer, and it didn't show up on the header there on the minutes, although he does appear in the minutes below. So if we could just add him as a member of the staff that was present. Anything else? Seeing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve, pardon me, to approve the minutes for the meeting of May 20th, 21 as edited.
Director Middleton, so moved.
Director Bogan, support.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you. We're moving on to new business now. Our first item is approval of a recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for Harbor Farms North LLC. After our discussion, we will be looking for a motion to approve. Paul?
Thank you, Director Owens. A little bit of a staff report. Our renewal this month comes from Harbor Farms North LLC. It is for 4 renewals, a grower and processor permit for medical and a grower and processor permit for adult use. Our community benefits meeting took place on May 4th. The Cannabis Committee met with Harbor Farms on June 8th. Some highlights from those meetings and their renewal application. They have provided job descriptions per the ordinance and salaries of all positions in Kalamazoo, Currently, they have 39 employees. Of the 39 employees, half live in the city of Kalamazoo, 18 are female, and 8 are people of color. 11 of the 39 employees have had misdemeanor cannabis-related convictions in the past. Harbor Farms contributes 50% of the cost of health insurance to each of its employees and provides a $50,000 life insurance policy. They make dental, vision, accident, and long-term insurance available for their employees and also contribute 4.5%, up to 4.5% for their 401ks. Harbor Farms has committed to provide employment opportunities for Kalamazoo residents, especially those that have been disproportionately affected by cannabis prohibition. As a company, they will prioritize hiring qualified applicants who have been adversely impacted by the cannabis prohibition. They will be making efforts to reach out to under and unemployed of Kalamazoo City first before posting to other mediums. In the coming year, Harvest Farms plans to engage with a variety of organizations and has committed to donating 5% of its net profits up to $50,000 annually to outreach programs, charities, and other social welfare organizations serving the Kalamazoo area. Organizations that they have engaged with or plan to engage with include the Boys and Girls Club, Black Wall Street Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo Loaves and Fishes, and the Southwestern Urban League, and also the Lift Foundation. Harbor Farms is not in default with the city. Harbor Farms bans the box, meaning they do not ask applicants to disclose any criminal convictions on their job application. Harbor Farms passed its fire inspection on May 11th. The zoning inspection discovered a minor issue with screening around the dumpster that has not yet been completed. So any motion could please mention that they would be approval would be pending the zoning inspection sign off. This comes to the EDC board with a favorable recommendation from the Cannabis Committee. Representatives from Harbor Farms are here to answer any questions. And at this time, I'd like to ask, are there any comments from the Cannabis Committee or any other directors?
Any comments or questions, directors? Committee? Seeing none? Is that it, Paul?
That's all I got.
All right, excellent. Any discussion among our directors? Nobody's raising their hand. Excellent, okay. Seeing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve a recommendation to the city clerk to renew the marijuana business permit renewal application for Harbor Farms North LLC.
Director Hess, I'd like to entertain a motion pending zoning approval.
Excellent, thank you.
Director Middleton, support.
Thank you, Director Middleton. We will need a roll call vote unless there's other discussion. Seeing none, could we please have a roll call?
Patty, I saw Michael
sorry.
Ward. Michael Ward was raising his hand.
Sorry, he's not on my screen. Michael, you're muted.
It looks like he's unmuted in Zoom.
Yeah.
Maybe the mic on your laptop.
I'll send him a message to try to call back in. I know this happened to him when he started the meeting as well.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
We'll give him just another second here to maybe figure it out. 1 minute, he says. Now you're muted on Zoom, so unmute on Zoom.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
There we go.
Mr. Ward.
I apologize. I don't know what's going on. But the question was, we are actively working on the dumpster location right now. I think if everybody would be a little patient on that because of the fact of what's going on with building materials right now, the fencing and whatnot is somewhat not available, but we are actively pursuing it. I've been actively talking with the city about timelines, and we have the work in progress currently. They were out there yesterday. I just want to better understand it. You moved for a pending approval. Could you explain to me what that means to us for being actively in business?
PJ?
As far as I know, Michael, it just means that we will need to inspect that to see it. I do not know. I can't speak to the process of the city clerk. So there's a chance that your date might come and go and you will not have the zoning issue solved.
Well,
But will
I'm
it
trying
still
to-
be approved?
I think I can't speak to it because I haven't had something yet. I can follow up with you, Michael, and let you know. I don't see there being any issue. You've done everything. You've done everything that you're asked to do. So I imagine if you can give us some sort of a timeline on the screening, that everything would be fine. But I can connect with you after this meeting and after I speak with the city clerk.
Kevin, would
Yeah,
you?
I've been in constant. Go ahead.
Just going to make a suggestion that perhaps if Kevin could adjust his motion and give a timeline of 2 months
Yeah.
to reconcile that, we could probably take care of all this in the meeting.
Is there anything Rich would want to add from a legal?
Read it.
Sorry. Yeah, I think because with the board is just the recommendation to the clerk to approve it. So as most of you know that, so you can make that recommendation pending the zoning issue or the screening issue. Once that screening issue is resolved, then the city clerk can approve.
Could we just give a conditional approval
Yep, you can do a conditional.
and then full
And
approval?
then, yeah, you don't have to come back to the board. Once that is cleared up, then city clerk can make that the approval of the extension of the license.
Yeah, would you say it'd be done in 2 months, Michael?
The concrete work is being done as we speak, but the real issue is the fencing. With everything that's going on in the economy with building materials, it's I call it's ridiculous what's going on. So it's I'm having a hard time finding the screening and the fencing to go around the dumpster. And I've been actively working with Bobby Durkee and the city to get with constant communication about what's going on.
And maybe Paul, I would say myself, but I'm not in that role anymore, but maybe we can talk to Bobby and see if there's a conditional approval for that, knowing the issues with the materials that Mr. Ward has. It doesn't, well, maybe we can do that and move beyond
Maybe
this.
we'll put a timeline on it so long as the city is okay with everything.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. Will there be a lag between their current approval and the renewal? Will we have a lag there if we do this pending
I
or
believe
conditional?
that there's, Patty, I believe that there's expires this month. At some point, I don't have that in front of me. Michael, do you know the date, the hard date when your license expires?
It's in July.
Oh, okay, then we're fine. We'll get it taken care of. I can talk to Bobby and get a conditional approval. I don't see there being any issue.
Yeah. And the city's done that before with all types of issues with conditional approval. So I don't see this being a problem. So.
Okay.
Yeah, this being a, not federally approved, what we're doing, it would make me feel very uncomfortable if I had no licensure at this time.
Understandable.
Okay.
This is Director Hess. I'd like to amend my motion to be a conditional approval, so long as zoning is resolved with the city.
Okay, so we have a motion.
Director Middleton, second the amended motion.
Thank you, Director Middleton. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we would like to have a roll call, please, PJ.
Bogan,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Brown, Escamilla, Griffin,
Yes.
Gulau,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Novotny,
Yes.
and Owens.
Yes. Thanks, everybody. Moving on to number 2 under new business, approval of the nomination and election of Nathan Bolton as EDC Chair and BRA Vice Chair, Kevin Hess as EDC Vice Chair and BRA Chair, Jason Novotny as EDC Treasurer Secretary and BRA Vice Chair, Lucas Middleton as BRA Treasurer Secretary, and James Escamilla as Executive Committee Member at Large. Following any discussion, we will be wanting to see a motion to approve the nomination and election of the slate of EDC and BRA officers as presented.
I don't really have anything to add, Director Owens. But thank you to all the officers who are willing to serve. And the city does appreciate their time and effort in this. And anybody else? Jamie, do you have anything to add?
I wanted to mention that we have had, Jamari, did you have a question? No, okay. I did want to mention that we have had as a board and staff plenty of conversation around this. These selections have been made mindfully and intentionally. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the nomination and election of the slate of EDC and BRA officers as presented.
Moved by Novotny.
Thank you.
Support by Director Bolton.
Thank you, Nathan. Any
Yeah.
other discussion?
Here, Owens, we don't have to.
Yes.
We don't have to abstain if we're involved.
No, no. We'd never get this through.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Could I kindly have a roll call vote?
Sure. Bogan,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Brown, Escamilla, Griffin,
Yes.
Gulau,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Novotny,
Yes.
Owens.
Yes. Thanks, everybody. That passes. Our next item under new business is the presentation of the EDC BRA budget report. There will be no action after this. It's simply a presentation. Go ahead.
Thank you, Director Owens. I just wanted to mention, Michael, you and your team are welcome to sign off unless you are very interested in the financial report for the EDC BRA. But thank you for being here. And we have Marcy Dix from our finance department here to give the budget report. Marcy, are you there?
Yes, I am. How's everybody doing today? Good to see you all again. And so I'm going to go over just the funds that the EDC oversees, and then I'll be back again for the BRA section of the meeting. And so let me see here. The first fund that that affects the EDC budget is Fund 244, which is the Economic Initiative Fund. And that is the fund where there are dollars available if a larger economic development project is approved by this board, you can make a recommendation to the city commission to approve up to 250,000 in loans. And we budgeted at the last year when you were adopting the 2021 budget, we budgeted to bring forward up to $500,000 to fund loans in this fund. If a project came forward and was approved first by the EDC and then by the city commission, the funds would be transferred from this fund into 702, the Economic Development Corporation budget, to then be paid out to the loan recipient. Other than that, so that is what the potential 500,000 in loan expense is, and we have not spent any of that. And until funds have to be brought forward, the 500,000 will not show in the revenues portion of this. So right now the revenues are some interest on existing loans is all that has been received to this point in the year. The other fund, does anybody have any questions on 244 before I move on? Okay, and so then in 702, there is a budget adopted for staff time. We also, the board approved 20,000 in outside contractual services for assistance with any branding or consulting as the EDC takes on more work and more responsibility this year. We haven't really spent anything out of this budget yet. The wages portion is done through an adjustment on a regular basis. It's supposed to be done on a regular basis by Management Services Department, but I think that we switched to a new payroll system, and I think we're having a little lag in the wage and personnel expenses showing on this budget report. So I'll be working with the payroll and management services staff to make sure that this report is a clearer picture of the personnel expenses when you see it next time. And in this one again with revenues will only show as it'll be closer to the end of the year that any money brought forward from fund balance shows. And if you do receive any revenues or if there are any projects that result in a fee like the bond project last year. Any questions on this one? Not a lot of activity so far this year. Yep, sorry.
Could I pop in here for a moment? Marcy, I don't have a second agenda item for this report under the BRA meeting, so I don't know if you're able to go through all of them. And then when you're done, I will give the board an update on our staff ideas for sort of an annual budgeting schedule.
No problem. So, sorry, moving on to Fund 243 is the revolving fund. And so the revenues for that, we have budgeted an estimated 250,000 for local tax capture. That's during the 5 years after the project is finished to be paid into the fund. That number will show later in the year. That is normally reflected after July. And again, there's not other revenue showing at this time. There will be another adjustment later in the year to show if any funds need to be brought forward from fund balance. And for expenses, we have allowed money, that almost $2 million figure is if a project was going to be paid for. And there have been some small payments on projects, but as you can see, we don't have a big expense at this time so far this year. In 709 is the budget that will have the most activity anytime that we do these reports. It is the operating budget for the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. And again, the only personnel expenses that are reflecting so far are from January. So I will be checking in with management services about what their schedule is going to be for importing our payroll system in charges into our Eden financial system. Then we have some expenses for the transfer to the debt fund to make the payment for the parking ramp project that is from captured taxes. We also, you can tell that we have been making payments for grant projects. And the other project that we have set up so far, making some payments on the Panelite property. But then we're making grant payments to 615 Kalamazoo and Harrison Circle project. Our other two projects for grants and loans are pretty much done, so there won't be activity in those accounts. And for our revenues in 709 fund, we've received, we're reflecting so far $22,766 in local tax capture. That will increase before the end of the year as more taxes are paid in and Treasury allots our portion to us. There have been some payments on a loan and 20,000 in Brownfield plan application fees is what the miscellaneous revenues are. We have not sold any property this year. And then we are getting grant revenue in for the two projects and paying them out as we receive those revenues. Any questions on these two budget reports? Okay, Jamie, do you want to talk about our thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to present a sort of schedule and set up some expectations for the board on when staff will come back to you and check in on budget related items. Typically, we've been coming to you the last couple of years in that, last or second last quarter for a presentation of the budget and budget approval, and that gets incorporated into the larger city commission budget presentation, and that typically gets approved at the beginning of the year. So we're kind of working a couple of months out from there. What staff would like to propose this year is that instead of just holding that budget approval in just a single meeting, we'd like to come to you all in August with a draft of these budgets for the 2022 year, and then have some discussion around priorities and kind of where we should be putting our resources in this next year. And then staff can make any changes that are necessary that we hear from the board, and then bring that back for a September approval for that budget. Then moving forward from that date, we've proposed a quarterly, so October, January, April, July, full budget report to the board. And then we can make sure we have all of this detail. I'll get those out to you ahead of the meeting. So if you have questions about details on some of these individual line items, we can pull those. But we found that if we create a report that has all of that detail, it gets very difficult to sort through. So I think we can get to a good format that works for you all. I think probably providing regularly on every quarter those fund balances would be another thing that we could add to the report. But just we're trying to use the system as it exists to be able to pull these reports consistently and accurately without having to make a lot of changes for our regular presentations. But I think over the next year, if we can do that at regular intervals, we can come up with a format that's informative to the board and allows them to kind of track and see those budgets over time.
Thank you, Jamie. Any questions from directors? Comments? Seeing none, thank you so much, Marcy. We appreciate you being here.
We'll see you in August.
Hopefully before then.
I suppose I can join for July too.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, we're on to old business. Any old business, Paul?
No old business.
Excellent. Thank you. How about communications and announcements?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Do we have any citizens waiting to give comments, or have they left any comments?
There are no comments related to the EDC. I do have some BRAs coming up for when that happens.
All right. Thank you so much. Any further director's comments at this time? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Director Owens. And I would like to call to order the July 17th, 2021 Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board of Directors meeting. This meeting is being conducted electronically pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.263 2 and MCL 15.263A 1B. May I have a roll call, please? And when your name is called, please also say where you are broadcasting from.
Bogan.
Director Bogan, Kalamazoo County, City of Kalamazoo, great state of Michigan.
Bolton.
Director Bolton, broadcasting from Houston, Texas, Fort Bend County. I reside in Kalamazoo Township, Kalamazoo County.
Brown. Escamilla. Griffin.
Here in Kalamazoo. I apologize, I'm having technical issues, which is why I'm not on camera.
Gula.
Here, City of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Hess.
Here, Kalamazoo Township, Kalamazoo County, State of Michigan.
Middleton.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, State of Michigan.
Novotny.
Here in the city of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
And Owens.
Present from Alamo Township, Kalamazoo County, Michigan.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I have a director motion to approve absent members.
Director
Gulao.
Owens.
Go ahead,
So
Director
moved.
Owens. Director Gulao supports.
Been moved and supported. All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Any opposed? Next on the agenda, hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to review the minutes from May 20th. At this time, I would like to have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of May 20th, 2021.
Chair Bolton.
Oh, I'm
I'd
sorry.
like to, we're going to need to approve the agenda under item C. And I have a change to the agenda I'd like to
I did
propose.
skip that. I apologize, I did skip that. So next is the adoption of the formal agenda, and I do know that we do have a change to that. So go ahead,
Thank you.
Jamie, please.
Yeah, thank you. We would like to remove item D, approval of meeting minutes from May. Staff needs more time to finalize those agenda or those meeting minutes, and we'll bring those back to you in July for approval of both months' minutes. So if we could remove D and then proceed with the
Thank
rest
you.
of the
And I
agenda. We'll need
apologize again for skipping that.
and we'll need a motion, reflecting that for approval C.
Okay. So with that adoption of the formal agenda being suggested, may I have a motion to remove the meeting minutes and have those presented at next month's meeting?
This is Director Owens. I move to approve the minutes. I'm sorry, I move to approve the formal agenda, removing item D until our next meeting.
Thank you, Director Owens.
Director Hess, support.
All in favor, please respond with aye.
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 Thank you. New business. Approval of an extension to purchase and sale agreement between the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority and HMG Navigation and Planning LLC for the redevelopment of 707 North Westnedge Avenue. After any presentation, we will have a motion to approve. Jamie, is there a presentation?
Yeah, I'd like to give the board an update. In January, as you know, you approved a purchase and sale agreement for the property at 707 North Westnedge Avenue. And that is going to be part of a bigger project for the Tiny Houses of Hope that's going in on both that corner and the corner at 447 West North Street, which is another BRA owned property that's been sold to the Northside Association for Community Development in collaboration with Hope Through Navigation, which is putting together this larger project. At that time in January, the BRA signed the agreement giving the developer 60 days to complete their due diligence on the property. And during that time, Gwen Hooker and her team found that they need to get a phase 2 environmental site assessment for that property. And they need a little bit, they wanted to exercise their option for an extension because they're going to need a little bit more time to get some funding in place to get that assessment done. We would typically, the way the agreement was written, we would give an additional 60 days, but knowing that they were going to need some time to get some funding sources in place, we decided just to extend that to our standard 365-day window that the developer has to complete any due diligence and then also close on the property within that period. And so Gwen has signed that agreement and it's in front of you in your packet today. And so we're asking for board approval to execute that and give them the time they need to finish up some of the work they have.
Thank you, Jamie. Are there any questions by the directors?
This is Director Owens. Do we have like maybe some milestones that they should be meeting along the way that we can rely upon, Jamie?
Rich, I don't know if I was just looking over the development or the purchase agreement and I didn't see anything. I think that they're just looking to get their due diligence finished and then close within that window. I don't think they have any other milestones.
Yeah, no, it's basically a standard purchase agreement. So that we normally use with the city attorney's office and BRA. So it doesn't have any milestones, but it does allow them to get their due diligence. And in this case, they need their phase 2 completed, like Jamie said. So that it gives them the ability to get all their ducks in a row, lack of a better legal term, and so be able to move to closing. So if that makes sense. So.
This is Director Owens again. It does make sense. This is a great project. I'd love to see it happen. I just don't want to see us get into a situation where we're constantly, we've seen this before where we just keep giving extension after extension with no kind of strings attached. So just, that was my question. Is there, we know that they need to get their phase 2 done. Well, then that's going to show us some other things too, right?
Right.
And there's going to be more to do and it's going to cost more money. And I'm just curious if there might be a way for us to set some goals so that we can help them stay to that 365. So they're not coming back in another 365 for another extension,
right,
unless absolutely necessary. So just an idea.
and sorry for interrupting, but I think we had thought this was going to be a very straightforward transaction. Of course, that sometimes doesn't always happen, but so we gave them our standard 365 period that we would give any developer. And normally we don't have, when we give that developer that time, we don't really have any strings attached to it, that they just have to figure out their due diligence and do their site assessment and things of that nature. And sometimes there's financing included in that as well. But since this is I believe a $500 purchase, we felt that we didn't need, initially we didn't need the 365 days. Found out that there was more issues that they needed to discover in the property, so we gave them that standard time.
Thank you. This is Director Owens again. I think that's great. And again, this is a really wonderful project. I wonder if we think about asking them for their timeline of what they want to see accomplished within that next 365 days. And open-ended with no accountability, it just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, Director Owens, I will go back to Gwendolyn and let her know that you're looking for that timeline. I think that'll shed some light on and give you guys some transparency into that process. And then I think you'll have a better sense of, as you mentioned, tracking if this project is on time, and letting her know that the board was supportive of this extension to 365 days, but that's a window you'd like to see everything happen in. Just letting her know that that's an important timeline to stick to.
Thank you. Director Bolton, would it be of interest to anyone else for her to come back and speak to us again with personally with that timeline or giving us information? I think that for me personally, that would help.
This is Vice Mayor Griffin, or Director Griffin, excuse me. I guess I would say whatever the standard process is of what we put developers through, if we give them a 365-day extension and we have asked them, other developers, to follow this a timeline or this ask, then I would say yes. But I don't know if I'm comfortable with asking a developer to do that just randomly, or maybe someone can give some more insight into if there's how do we normally handle it when we give a developer the 365-day window that they're allotted.
I can shed a little light on that. I think Director Griffin is correct. We're typically giving a 365-day window with not a lot of milestones in that agreement, except that oftentimes we are asking for some financial assurances or some proof of financing. And in this case, because the project is just structured quite a bit differently, that they're doing, this is, a not-for-profit type activity. They're doing more traditional fundraising and a capital campaign instead of, going to more traditional lenders. And I think that they're well underway with that fundraising. We didn't really build those into this kind of purchase and sale agreement because it appeared to be a just much more straightforward transaction and a bit different than what we're used to. But I would agree, most often we give folks 365 days and then just with kind of staff check-ins and not necessarily asking that developer to come back to the board unless they have a specific request or something to be heard in front of the board.
Yeah, and I would like to piggyback on that just because this purchase agreement, normally with the financing, the purchase price is a lot higher, right? So that's built into asking for financials and things like that to make sure the developer can not only do the project, but also pay for the property. In this case, we are giving a significant discount just because of the nature of the project. And therefore, those financials weren't as important. Like Jamie said, they're doing a different type of funding. So standard, we normally just ask for financial milestones. We don't normally ask for when they're going to complete it or anything like that. The 365 days is for them, the developer, to figure out whether or not they want to purchase the property. It's actually for them, not for the BRA. So they know what they're getting into when they purchase the property. So does that make sense to everyone? So yeah, I agree with Vice Mayor Griffin. We shouldn't put different standards on different developers. We should be consistent in that nature. And this would be consistent to what we normally do with developers. What was inconsistent, and I keep talking, I apologize, but what was inconsistent is because of the nature of the deal was giving them a 60-day window because we thought, again, low purchase price, they would get the property and they would do something to it. What we can do milestones on is the development agreement. We normally put milestones on the development agreement, not the purchase agreement. So just give you more clarity on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions and responses. Are there any other director comments or questions?
I have one additional comment, and it's sort of just tangential to the issue with regard to the specific purchase agreement, but seems like the discussion today, it might warrant some future discussion and consideration of our standard practices with respect to purchase agreements and whether we may wish to consider some sort of additional milestone inclusions or that sort of thing. So not that we need to have that conversation right now, but that we might want to have future discussion with staff and with Rich or with whoever will be negotiating those future agreements. I think it would be helpful, or at the very least helpful from my perspective, to have a better understanding of those standard practices. So a check mark for future discussion, I suppose.
Thank you, Director Middleton. Are there any other director comments or questions? Seeing there are not, if I may have a motion to approve the extension to purchase and sale agreement between the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority and HMG Navigation and Planning LLC, and authorize the chair to sign. This would.
Director Middleton, so moved.
Director Bogan, support.
It's been moved and supported. This will require a roll call vote.
Bogan,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Gula,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Novotny,
Yes.
Owens.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 2, approval of annual tax increment revenue payments to developers with approved brownfield plans for verified eligible activities. We will have a motion to approve after the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Bolton. So we're at that time of year where between the Treasury Department and Brownfield staff, we're working on getting payments prepared and ready for our slate of developers who have approved Brownfield plans and TIF reimbursement agreements. And this year, I see an error in my agenda report. I just skipped 2020 for some reason. So this year for 2020 summer and winter taxes, the BRA was able to capture a total of $1,727,580. From the tax increment revenue that's been captured, approximately $150,000 will be payable to the BRA for reimbursement and eligible activities for a couple of the projects that you see in the table that was in your agenda packet. The remainder here is going to pay developers for eligible activities, and that total is right around $1.4 million to developers. And then we also have $157,850 that will be captured into the local Brownfield revolving fund. So again, that table that you have in your agenda packet, it shows all of the different projects that are currently capturing. It does tell you who the reimbursement would be payable to in one of those columns. It does give you a breakout for the total taxes captured on those properties. That includes both their real property taxes and personal property. If it's available, the BRA does have the ability to capture that. And that's where we get that $1.7 million in total capture this year. With your approval, what staff would move to do is prepare all of our letters out to our developers. We ask them for some annual reporting information that we then put into our report to the Michigan Strategic Fund, MEDC, that we have to report for all of the taxes that have been captured. And then we would be issuing payments, either electronics, we still do some checks out to these developers, and we try to get that done by the end of July of each year. One thing that staff will also do is we check these numbers against all of the outstanding payables that we have on some of these. So we may, some of these, I don't think we have this case, but sometimes there may be a project that is only doing a partial capture year to the developer, and then anything remaining goes into the LBRF or to pay the BRA. And staff will check against all of that. And then I will be able to give you in August, once we do our annual MSF reporting, I'll come back and give you guys a summary of how that breakdown looks for all of the different accounts.
Thank you, Jamie. Are there any comments or questions by the directors? Seeing that there are not, may I have a motion to approve the annual tax increment revenue payments to developers with approved brownfield plans and authorize staff to distribute payments?
This is Director Owen. So moved.
This is Director Goulart. Support.
It has been moved and supported. This also will require a roll call vote.
Bogan,
Yes.
Bolton,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Goulart,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Middleton,
Yes.
Novotny,
Yes.
and Owens.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. That has been moved and supported. Item F, old business. Is there any old business?
No old business.
Item G, communication and announcements. Any communication or announcements? Being none. H is staff updates. I believe we do have some staff updates.
Yeah, I just wanted to let the board know that on June 7th, City Commission approved 2 brownfield plans that were on the agenda. Those brownfield plans were our city's 9th amendment to the Brownfield redevelopment plan. And then the other one was the scattered site infill housing brownfield plan. There was an amendment to that plan. And so those have been approved, and staff has been putting together those final resolutions and documents, and we'll post those on the Brownfield website.
Thank you, Dan.
I just wanted to say, I just wanted to say I'm not really staff anymore, but I do want to say that I apologize for my swan song last week, since I'm still here. So I just wanted to put that out there, that I am still here. I don't know how long I'll be here, but I'll give you the goodbye, the official goodbye, when and if that happens. So
I'm sure we were all very, very happy when we saw that you were on this meeting, Rich.
I agree, Attorney Jerry. You're welcome back anytime.
Thanks.
Are there any other staff updates? If not, I do believe we have citizen comments.
Yes, there are a few comments. Hold on, please.
Good morning. My name is Toby Hannah Davies, and I do live in the city. Along with Stephanie Hoffman, the Executive Director of Open Doors Kalamazoo, I co-chair the Isaac and TRHT Housing Task Force. Isaac stands for Interfaith Strategy for Advocacy and Action in the Community, and is an interfaith organizing network of 30 local congregations and organizations working together to build what Dr. Martin Luther King called the beloved community. TRHT stands for Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation, and is an extensive project at the Kalamazoo Community Foundation, funded nationwide by the Kellogg Foundation. We're calling because we are extremely distressed by the lack of affordable apartments in the River's Edge proposal, and the fact that the developer recently requested even less affordability than first proposed. The River's Edge proposal is located in Census Tract 2.02, where the area median income is just above 40%. The Social Vulnerability Index for Census Tract 2.02 is 0.77, where 0 is the lowest and 1 is the highest vulnerability. Downtown Kalamazoo is already full of new luxury apartments in all these large new developments. The Exchange building across from the Radisson, the Warner building about to open across from the Arcadia Festival site, and 400 North Rose Street about to double in size, which has some units called workforce housing, but they're only affordable to people at 80 to 120% of area median income. And most of the units are more luxury apartments. Please keep in mind in your deliberations about River's Edge that the City of Kalamazoo is obligated to affirmatively further fair housing. Actions that perpetuate issues of housing insecurity for protected classes can and will cause problems with HUD. We are sending you a letter soon with more information about why we believe you must increase the affordability levels at River's Edge and not decrease them. Thank you for reading it carefully when you receive it in the next day or so. Goodbye.
Good morning. My name is Stephanie Hoffman, and I reside on the north side of Kalamazoo. As everyone knows, our community is experiencing a housing crisis. We are in the midst of a housing shortage like we've not experienced in times past. Kalamazoo County has extreme wealth and extreme poverty. We have the Kalamazoo Promise, which encourages many families to relocate for the educational opportunities set forth by very generous benefactors who understand the importance of education being one of the gateways out of poverty and the criminal justice system, just to name one. Yet, we also have a 2018 University of Michigan study, which was published and stated Kalamazoo County had the highest number of homeless school-age children, 907 in the state. The city of Kalamazoo is experiencing a boom in what is now considered workforce market rate housing, serving individuals at 80% and beyond. This population represents the community members working at local law firms and the corporate offices of Pfizer, WMU, Zoetis, Graphic Packaging, just to name a few. In reality, some of the individuals working in the manufacturing and maintenance divisions of these said corporations and institutions are being housed in or receiving services with the nonprofit organizations in our community. In the nonprofit housing sector, we understand this. Market rate and workforce housing does not reach deep enough to affect the men, women, and children in housing insecurity and experiencing homelessness. This speaks directly to the BIPOC population, Black, Indigenous people of color, who have been affected by decades of discrimination on various levels. Kalamazoo County is comprised of 11% Black folks, while the homeless rate for the same population is 60% or more. However, these impacted community members we serve are not mere numbers or statistics, they are valuable human beings. They are mothers, fathers, children, sons, daughters, and now is the time to be intentional about your model of housing as it pertains to the city of Kalamazoo. When I first heard about the River's Edge project, I was super excited about the realistic possibility of bringing more bona fide affordable housing to our community that could actually serve the residents of our core neighborhoods with dignity and respect, coupled with new energy efficient, affordable, and permanent housing. To my surprise, I received word that a request was being submitted to alter the initial plan. As developers, you must have done your due diligence and research to understand a city is only as healthy as the least within it. We have families working 2 to 3 jobs and still cannot afford housing in our community. I urge you, developers, to listen to the voices of the people already engaged in this work of eradicating homelessness.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Pat Dingy, deacon at St. Martin of Tours Episcopal Church and a resident of the city of Kalamazoo. I'm also a member of Isaac's Housing Task Force and I want to express my appreciation for your work focusing on brownfield redevelopment and the ways that this can revitalize our whole community. I have called today to speak for all of us at Isaac concerning the River Caddis proposed River's Edge apartment development at Harrison and Gull Road. We urge you to use every tool possible to increase the affordability levels of the River's Edge apartments, not decrease them. Let's make River's Edge be an example of mixed income apartments that are so badly needed in our city. Apartments affordable to families working at low-wage jobs, as well as providing market-rate apartments. As you know, River's Edge is located in what was for decades a yellow-lined neighborhood, and it is way past due for us to use every means possible to reverse the discrimination and disinvestment which that has caused for so long. This is one opportunity to do that. The Isaac Housing Task Force asks that you consider these possible tools to make River's Edge development more affordable. Recommend that the city consider further reducing the payment level in the pilot already granted in exchange for lower affordability rates. Recommend that the Foundation for Excellence or its shared prosperity efforts fund the reduction of some of the rents and make River's Edge a truly mixed income project. Request that the city use some of the new federal funds for the reduction of some of the rents, especially for the family-sized 3-bedroom apartments. Talk with John Durham about the ways Harrison Circle has financed so many lower levels of affordability and his reasons for changing to mixed income apartments after doing his previous market rate buildings. Talk with Matt Hollander, developer of the Creamery, which has affordability ranges from 30% to 100% of area median income. River's Edge could be an exciting example of creating mixed income housing instead of doing either type of highly problematic residential development, which results in gentrification or the concentration of poverty. It could welcome families with be affordable to people at 50%, 40%, and 30% of area median income. Thank you.
And that is all the comments at this time.
Thank you for the citizen comments. Again, affordable housing continues to be an issue. I guess I have a question. Do we have a process in place to respond to citizen comments after we hear them?
Should I answer this, Jamie, or?
Yeah, if you could, Rich.
Okay. So you as a board can direct staff to try to address what you hear in citizen comments. You can also open it up. This is an open meeting. There is also director comments where you can add your own comments in response to the citizen comment. So there's a couple different ways to handle it. So, but it's really up to the board or how they want to handle it, or each individual board member. You can address it during your time for board member comments.
Thank you, Chair. So at this time, are there any director comments or questions from the citizen comments?
I would just thank the citizens for expressing their concerns and considerations with respect to the River Caddis project. I think the three messages that we heard reflect some of our own concerns and consternation with respect to what's happened with that development, and that we've continued to see additional requests for time while also whittling down what at the beginning looked like would include a lot more affordable housing. So I would just say that I appreciate those comments and will endeavor to keep them close as we consider that project in the future.
Thank you, Director Middleton.
Yeah.
Are there any other direct comments?
Director Bolton.
Yes, Director Hess.
This is Director Hess, but yeah, I do believe that we've been a very conscious board of affordability. We are at a very challenging time where development costs aren't terribly prohibitive. For affordable housing and incentives and grants from the state have been lacking. But I would just urge all of us to be very conscious of that going forward, because not only in that market, but just affordable housing in general all throughout the county is at an extreme low, which doesn't breed well for the homeless population. So going forward, I would just urge all of us to be very conscious of that as projects come up, as we have been in the past. But definitely appreciate the work they do at Isaac and working on solutions for us.
Thank you, Director Hess. Any other director comments?
I just had one further question, which is, do we have an update with regard to the new member that we voted on recently?
I checked in with, this is Jamie. I checked in with the clerk's office and they've received our memo with the board's recommendation of Rachel Bear as our new member. It's with the mayor now for the mayor's recommendation and then approval at the city commission level. I will reach out to Mayor Anderson and see if he can take a look at that and have something prepared to get that on the city commission agenda ahead of our July meeting so we could have our new members sworn in at that time.
Thank you, Jamie. Are there any other director comments? This is Director Bolton. I would also like to thank Isaac for their follow-up and comments and encourage other citizens as well to continue to hold the BRA accountable for the work that we do and welcome the openness that was presented. And also would like to say to the BRA board to thank you for the work that we do and continue to keep affordable housing in the forefront of what we're doing. Moving to director's comments. Are there any director comments? Seeing that there are not any, we are officially adjourned. Thank you all for
Great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.